What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Hey, if you haven't already, Bloodborne is now up on PlayStation Plus, so if you have that subscription service, you can go download it now. It was pretty cool to see that just available for everyone to download. I hope a lot of people get to try it out. Ratchet & Clank's also there. Mighty Number 9 is also there, so pretty cool on the PlayStation 4 right now with their PlayStation Plus services there. But today we have a lot of stuff to get into, some interesting things popping up around the internet. A little more backing to Diablo 3 going to Switch from relatively reliable source. And then we also find out from another source what could possibly be one of the first guest characters in SoulCalibur revealed, and honestly, it could be a big one. So today, guys, let's get started. Now, SoulCalibur is best known, at least in the past couple iterations back to SoulCalibur 2. I remember specifically a big deal about Link being there, right? It's Spawn and Hayachi, but they always have guest characters, whether it's Yoda and Darth Vader, right, joining in, or again, you have people like Spawn. So, what do they usually do? Well, they bring in characters from different games, different genres that maybe you wouldn't think would fit in, but they make them work, right? In this case, the big one that is being rumored right now, and it seems to have a little backing from CD Projekt Red themselves, could be Geralt from The Witcher 3. And that is pretty exciting. Now, I don't know if this would be like the big one they would put in there, or if it'd be specific to one system, right? Maybe it's the PC version's guest character, although he's also on PS4 and Xbox One, so maybe this is just a character they put in for all of these systems. Now, where did this rumor start up? Well, over on Let's Play Video Games, they had a couple anonymous sources sending them this information. Then after looking into it and vetting other sources, they have found that this appears to be correct, and this appears to be something that will be revealed soon-ish. I mean, we're expecting SoulCalibur later this year. This might be an E3 reveal with other guest characters, and it was further cemented when on Twitter, the CD Projekt Red community manager tweeted, "What if Geralt was going to step out of the Witcher game for the very first time to make an appearance in one of the upcoming games later this year?" So we have rumors of Geralt going to SoulCalibur. The community manager says, hey, what if he just showed up in another game later this year, took a step outside of the Witcher universe? Well, nothing's confirmed yet, but man, does it look like all the puzzle pieces are fitting together. And they have been building up their guest characters. Geralt right now is pretty popular. Witcher 3 was a great game. People know it really well, especially on the PC, where they are also pushing this to. So yeah, he would be a great character for this. And I hope they also get some others. Maybe they get a PlayStation exclusive character. Maybe they get, I don't know, like someone from Xbox, like Master Chief or something. It's hard to say. I think he would be great for a PC exclusive character. Then they come up with two others for the other systems. But hey, he could technically be on all of them, as he's been on all these systems. We'll just have to wait and see if he gets revealed. Next up, let's talk about Diablo 3 on the Nintendo Switch, because we've got more information about it, and this might end up being, leading up to its reveal, up there with Mario & Rabbids Kingdom Battle as one of the worst kept secrets on the Nintendo Switch, because it seems like ever since they posted on Twitter, and then we heard rumors even before then of them kind of switching the light switch on and off for that night light, and everyone immediately put it two and two together and said, oh, you're teasing the Switch version. And then of course they had to backpedal saying, oh, we're not that clever, we wouldn't do that. But it seemed pretty clear from what a lot of people were saying and the rumors prior that it was happening. And now Eurogamer has thrown their hat into the rumor ring here, saying, yeah, it's happening. They are definitely bringing, in this case, Diablo 3 over to the Switch. I think that's a big get for Nintendo. We're going to talk about that a little more. But Eurogamer's been pretty credible. They usually get more stuff right than wrong. So, and they're a pretty big, obviously, publication online. So people are more inclined to believe them than other sources. And it seems like they've gone on record now saying that this is happening when, well, we could see a direct before E3, or this could be an E3 reveal. And this is a big deal, I think, for Nintendo, seeing as the last time they had a Blizzard game on their system was 15 years ago, back in 2003. They had some Game Boy Advance games from Blizzard. A lot of people seem to remember StarCraft, 64 was a game that people didn't think was possible to do, because they're moving it from a mouse and keyboard over to a single joystick. But they got it to work. They made it happen. So in this case, yeah, I would like to see Diablo 3 moved over to the Switch. Has a lot of potential there. The game's addictive enough to where people would probably rebuy it for a portable version. And honestly, the Switch just syncs up perfectly with the games that are already couch co-op. So yeah, Diablo 3, I hope it's revealed soon. I hope it's before E3 so we get a better look at it. And hopefully it's for a, I don't want to say super late, like holiday. I'm hoping this is one that shows up more in the fall. Maybe a nice September launch. That would make a lot of sense for Diablo 3. And then we have to find out what DLC would be included. technically it's still a rumor, but man, if this isn't true, everybody seems to be completely off on this. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'm hoping it gets announced soon so we can then move on to its potential release date. Next up, let's talk a bit about Sony and backwards compatibility. It's something a lot of people want, at least they're vocal about wanting it. Whether they're going to use it, you know, that's here or there, I guess. That is still a conversation a lot of people have to this day. How many people actually use backwards compatibility on the Xbox One? I feel like a lot of people say it's good to have. I may not use it, but it just adds more value to your box. I would agree with that. There have been times recently, especially, I've gone back and played like Skate 3, Ninja Gaiden Black, for example. So there are quite a few that I've gone back and checked out. Bully, I think, is a great one to go back and play. You can actually buy it new now on store shelves for the 360, and then you pop it in and you play it. I really like what Microsoft has done here, and I think Sony has kind of missed the mark. I understand they have an excuse why they can't do backwards compatibility, much like how Nintendo does for Wii U games. They went from a disc to a cartridge. You can't put the disc in a system that doesn't have a disc drive. And with Sony, their PS3 was just all over the place, that cell processor, and it would be exceptionally difficult to make it work on the PS4, at least to the point where people would be satisfied with frame rate and resolution and stuff. They have to pretty much remaster and remake the game and put it out, much like they've done with stuff like the Last of Us Remastered or God of War 3. That's something that they've been doing, just not to the point where you can take your PS3 disc and pop it in. Well, a patent was pretty much, in this case, re-upped so that they can continue to look at backwards compatibility. You're going to see the patent here where they have renewed it, and this is interesting because it's a US patent that was updated by Sony Interactive Entertainment America. It was updated on February 13th, and it states, backward compatibility testing of software in a mode that disrupts timing. Now, this was originally created in 2015, seemingly for PlayStation Now, and that could still be what they're working on here. Maybe making PlayStation Now better, or just continuing their research on it, and they want to keep PlayStation Now around. Although I don't think that service is very good. I think they charge too much for it, and it is all streaming. So I hope that this is kind of some kind of alluding to the PS5 being backwards compatible, to where you can pop a disc in and you can play it, because I'm going to tell you now, the Xbox 2 is absolutely going to be backwards compatible all the way back to the original Xbox. And I'm telling you now, the next PlayStation, if it still can't do the PS3, you got to be able to make it do the PS1, the PS2, and the PS4. It has to at least be able to do the PS4. I would like to see them just build in a PS2 and a PS1 emulator as well, though. But we might not get that. They might just want to resell them on the marketplace. Something they could still do while giving you what Microsoft does, where you could pop the disc in. Probably one of the biggest weaknesses around the PlayStation. Jim Ryan said no one really does backwards compatibility anyway, even though it's one of our most requested features to add. Tell me how much sense that makes, I guess. But in this case, we'll see what they do. The PS5, I think, though, will at least play PS4 games. There's really no excuse at this point. It's a common architecture that should move over to the PS5 relatively easily. Next up, let's talk about something it's kind of neat. This is a 3D NES emulator. It's an emulator that you could play your NES games on, and it kind of gives them a different perspective where it makes them, well, 3D. So it gives you like that third dimension where you can kind of look around your characters. Well, what's really neat is they added VR support. They put up a video which makes this look absolutely insane. My favorite right now is probably when they're playing Contra and he gets really close and starts looking around the different characters and everything on the screen, and then he kind of looks down the plane and you can see it kind of become 3D and kind of jut out towards them. This is absolutely crazy. This is a good reason, I think, to break out that Oculus or that Vive and check this out, because this is super cool looking. I love the creativity behind some of these emulators, these programs in general, where you can do something like this that really makes those NES games get like a second win, a second life, a new reason to load up your favorite NES games and see them, in this case, in just a new dimension. So pretty neat to see. They did release the binary and everything, so you can download it. You can try it out if you have your own headset. Should be able to do this and everything. And hey, load up some different games and just see how much different they look from that third dimension, something we could never see back then for these 2D games. Next up, let's talk a little bit about God of War, as that game is getting closer and closer to its release date. And you always ask, right, with these kind of games now, we're trained to figure that microtransactions are in them, despite most people not wanting that disrupting their gameplay, especially not with a game that is heavily single player, right? It just doesn't make any sense to have that there. Well, people are asking, and someone even asked and got a response on Twitter back from the director and writer for God of War, the creative director at Santa Monica Studios, and they said, Sony Santa Monica, will there be microtransactions in the game? Outfitters for real money? Cory Barlog then responded, no freaking way. So look, we're always going to be worried about microtransactions showing up in every single game. It's just, we're almost like traumatized by what's been happening recently, where every game seems to be getting them. But the one thing seems to be commonplace here, most of these first-party single-player games that don't really have multiplayer to them probably won't see any kind of microtransactions, especially from companies like Sony and Nintendo anyway, that are mostly focused on selling their hardware as opposed to selling services. They want to sell their hardware over everything because they want a larger install base. Makes a ton of sense. Make your games good, make them exclusive, and people will show up and buy your system. God of War looks to be an awesome game so far. I'm excited to see a different direction for the God of War series, and I'm happy to know that most likely I will have an uninterrupted, or at least not one interrupted by microtransactions, experience throughout what is shaping up to be a 20 to 25 hour single player game. That's exciting for a God of War game. I just want to see how much different it plays than the others. And that, of course, is coming out on the same day as the Labo, the third week or so of April. So it's going to be exciting. No microtransactions. I'm on board. And our last bit of news, let's talk about Far Cry 5. It's coming up pretty quickly now. It should be out in a little bit. But the big thing here is they're looking to increase, I guess, the time spent in this game, its longevity, if you will. And, well, they're bringing in something that sounds crazy. They're heavily expanding on their map editor, and it looks like it's going to be out, it's just insane. Now, this was posted over on their news blog and for Ubisoft, and they describe what sounds like it's going to be a wonderland for people who like to, in this case, edit maps, share them, play through them, because it's going to have, it's called Far Cry Arcade, first of all. It's going to have approximately 7,000 different objects that players can use to create new levels that you can play and kind of pass around and everything. And they're actually going to be borrowing these objects, at least some of them, from games like Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed 4, and different Far Cries. This is absolutely awesome. I love this idea. Now, of course, we had Far Cry map editors back in Far Cry 2 and Far Cry Instincts. I remember actually playing Instincts with that map editor. I thought it was a neat idea. I really like the idea of really expanding on that and even pulling in stuff from their other IPs. Very, very cool idea. I'm going to be checking out this map editor because you already know people are going to come up with some crazy stuff for this. And that actually makes it so there's essentially an unlimited amount of levels that you can play as people create them. They're going to come up with some crazy crossover ideas for these Assassin's Creed 4 objects and these Watchdog objects and stuff. It's going to be really neat to see. And I'm looking forward more so to it now, knowing that it's probably not going to be the same cookie cutter Far Cry that we've really had for Far Cry 3 and 4. So I'm looking forward to it now more so with this map editor. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go do it for Newswave today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, guys. Really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave a bunch of comments down below about all the stuff we talked about today, whether it is the possibility of Witcher 3 invading SoulCalibur. Does that make sense to you? It sounds like it makes a lot of sense to me because a while ago with the original Witcher, even Witcher 2, Geralt wasn't that well known. But with Witcher 3, he's really exploded more so onto the mainstream scene than ever before. And I think he does still kind of fit into the surroundings in a SoulCalibur game. And he would be well received by fans, absolutely. And honestly, it might even help to increase the exposure for the Witcher series going forward. It's really neat to see that. And I really, really hope it ends up being correct. Also, let me know what you think about Diablo 3 getting more backing from Eurogamer. It seems like at this point, it's just a poorly kept secret, and we're just waiting, right? We're just waiting for them to announce something about this. Just tell us more DLC packs, at release date, everything, because it's going to be neat whenever we do see Diablo 3 show up on the Switch. It also tells us that maybe Blizzard has a little more interest in this Nintendo system than previous Nintendo systems. And also let me know what you think about Far Cry 5's map editor system. I like the idea. I'm looking forward to trying it out, and I think it's a big plus for a game that has been kind of tired recently, right? So it's going to be really neat to see. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.